Kelsey Zeiser with Light Reading, and we're here at MEF18 in Los Angeles, and I'm joined by Satya Parimi with Spectrum Enterprise. Good to see you, Satya.
Nice to see you too.
So you were on a panel about SD-WAN this morning, and there's been, of course, a lot of talk about SD-WAN and standards today. Where is Spectrum at moving from the trial phase to launch of SD-WAN services, and what are some things that you've learned along the way?
We'll be launching our service, making it generally available over the next coming weeks. We've started prepping the internal channels with training, and we're starting to respond to RFPs and get ready for launch. The market trials, market field trials with live customers have been very, very interesting, and also we learned a lot going through the trials. I would bunch a lot of our learnings into three key areas, one around technology, other around operations, service delivery, and the last around customer experience, client experience. On the technology side, it's no different than what you're hearing from everybody else. It's not plug and play. The overlay and the underlay don't seamlessly work together. You have to do some engineering work up front. Self-installs was another very interesting thing. It's not as easy as people think it is, especially if you ship out a kit. Sometimes you need to put this in a telecom closet. You need a screwdriver or a flashlight that an office manager may not have, right? You may need to have an IT person there, for example. So
maybe not fully zero touch?
It is not. It is fully zero touch after everything is hooked up.
Okay.
And getting there is not that easy. And so for launch, for example, based on those learnings, we've decided to do a fully white glove onboarding with installation in footprint, out of footprint. Same thing from a service delivery perspective. We learned that you have to orchestrate and automate service delivery end to end. Otherwise, it's not scalable, and it's hard to do service assurance. And the biggest learning has been from a client perspective, people saying, okay, I get SD-WAN, understand the functionality. What is the net incremental new thing I'm getting outside of saving money on access, for example? You're giving me a lot of complexity. You're moving a lot of feature functionality and flexibility from the network to me. Do I need to have this complexity? Can it be a managed service? So that's the other thing we're doing with our launch is we were contemplating both self-managed and fully managed, but we're going to launch with a fully managed service. Everything included, one price, everything part of the service.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit more about why you chose to go that route of a fully managed service? I know some other providers are offering different tiers of SD-WAN services, and also just tell us a little bit more about the types of customers that you're targeting for the SD-WAN service, size and verticals, for example.
I think those two questions, or those two things go together. A lot of the learnings from the self-managed versus the fully managed aspect was around the complexity with a lot of the settings in the service, and we're really trying to target the upper end of the mid-market and the enterprise segment initially, because that's our sweet spot with our current customer base of Ethernet customers. And one of the unique things we offer, as you know, is a layer 2 hybrid with SD-WAN, so that fits well into that segment. And also, I think over time we will have a self-managed option as well, but initially we didn't want to complicate the service for the customer. We want them to be comfortable using this new technology, getting the benefits out of it. So typically 5 to 100, 200 site customers is what location site customers is what we're looking at. There are some larger opportunities we're looking at as well, and 200 is not a hard limit, but we're looking for someone that's looking for a managed experience, because there are other providers that can provide a lot more bells and whistles, but whoever's buying that need to have a large IT presence to be able to manage the complexity. So we're trying to focus initially on our area of core competence, which is targeting the upper end of the mid-market and the enterprise, where we can bring a fully managed service with white glove onboarding, and we're also looking at a front-end engineering design team as well that'll help post-sale close to work with the client to make sure they have the right design before we get to implementation. So it's going to be more curated experience, and we want to make sure we take them on the right journey so they're not put off by the complexity that comes with SD-WAN.
Right. That does seem to be a theme today, is focusing on
Yes.
simplicity and reducing that complexity for customers.
Yeah, and that's also the reason why we don't have tiers, right? It's one service, completely managed, all included, because the price arbitrage is not worth it there in terms of having we've seen the base package, the concierge package, the managed service package on top. For a lot of customers that are used to, that's the other very important thing is, people that are used to having a managed service, it's hard for them to cut over where, they have a service where they don't buy the management aspect of it. So we are trying to keep it simple, simple pricing, standardized set of boxes, few choices, and as much as possible, everything included.
And looking at MEF 3.0, how does that help Spectrum deliver more business services or perhaps more efficiently?
So I take the things that happened from CE 2.0. CE 2.0, the Carrier Ethernet 2.0 was a great win for Charter and Spectrum Enterprise because we were very early on a big proponents of standardization, because standardization drives a lot quicker uptake of service because enterprises feel comfortable that they're buying something that's an industry standard. And we're hoping with 3.0 and the 3.0 APIs for cross-provider connectivity, but more importantly, the standardization efforts. I think today was announced there is a spec out for SD-WAN, standardized SD-WAN. I think that will give a lot of enterprises more comfort that they're buying into something that's industry standard and that's there to stay and that's not going to change. So 3.0 helps us from that perspective, and certification, again, we're a big proponent of getting people certified. We have, I think, one of the largest, if not the largest, CE 2.0 certified professionals in a company, and we're investing in the same for 3.0 as well.
And so you mentioned the benefit of having those SD-WAN standards and moving in that direction. What's next for meeting the demands of your customers for their business services? What are some challenges you foresee?
I think it's two-part. I mean, there's a lot of talk about SD-WAN, but I think the bigger conversation needs to be around SD and NFV. SD-WAN is one service. So as we look at SD-WAN service and how we deliver it, we're looking to do it from a SD and NFV platform. So we're going to make SD-WAN as one of the services on that platform. And then security is also going to be delivered from that platform. And we plan to use that platform to deliver services to other existing services we have, like Internet and Ethernet. So for our business customers, that's one of the things we're looking at is how do we leverage the benefits of SD and NFV to deliver compelling services to the end customer, because I think I spoke in the morning about this topic that we're hearing a lot from enterprises saying, yes, SD and NFV is really interesting technology, but what is it getting me incrementally, right? You're selling me the same services that I already have, right? You're just delivering it better, differently, or faster. What are the incremental benefits and value that you can show to me? Because I think unless we do that, there's not going to be a big shift in moving to some of these newer dynamic services. And in the proof of concept here on the show floor, that's one of the things we're working on. We're showing how we can use application-aware, policy-based networks that in real time can adjust to what's going on with the application, and that's a value. If you can get to intent-based client experience where networks are in an automated, autonomous way reacting to what's happening in the network, that's another value to the end customer. So what's next for business customers is a compelling enough product that they believe gives enough value for them to adopt all these services en masse. Otherwise, it's going to be Internet, Ethernet, managed services, security. So I think the key is to make sure we find what triggers the enterprises to want to move to these new services.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, thanks so
Thank
much
you.
for your time, Satya. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise, thank you.